Hello and welcome to another edition on Cranky Gun Reviews and yet another edition on impulse buying or opportunistic buying. This particular little Smith & Wesson revolver is one that had been for sale for well over a month, another one that for whatever reason did not sell this gun. So it had been on consignment in one of my favorite shops for a really long time. It was one that I didn't know a particular lot about, so I started doing some research on it and found out that even though this is not a normal caliber, it's a pretty appealing gun, and especially this particular model. So what exactly is this? Well, this is a Smith & Wesson Model 30-1 in 32 Smith & Wesson Long. And you can use 32 Smith & Wesson Short in this as well. But what this basically is, originally the 32 Smith & Wesson Long, or the 32 hand ejector, was kind of the precursor to the Jframe revolvers. They originally came out on an I frame, which was slightly smaller. However, this particular model, because it's a 30-1, is actually built on a pin barrel Jframe. So it's a little bit bigger than the original Smith & Wesson I frame. You can see here on the frame it says 30-1, and that tells you that this is a kind of a mid-year model. I have not been able to nail down exactly the year that this was made, but as near as I can figure out, around 1968 or 69, they stopped putting the diamond grips on it, so it's a post-68 or 69 revolver, and because it has the pin barrel, it's a pre-82. The serial number on this one starts with H33, and it has a 5-digit numeric, so it's H and then 5 digits in numeric. I really can't find a whole lot of information about the serial numbers on these, but there you can see on the barrel the gorgeous bluing on this and that 32 Smith & Wesson Long. This gun, as far as I can tell, has never been carried. It's barely ever been fired. As far as I can tell, there are almost no flaws anywhere on this gun. There's no scratches on it. There's no wear marks on either the end of the barrel or the ejector shroud or on the bottom of the frame around the trigger. This thing is in exceptional condition. This is probably the nicest Jframe revolver that I own, maybe even better than my Model 34. Now again, I mentioned that this gun had been sitting at a shop in the used rack for well over a month. And again, it's another opportunistic buy. I had actually gone into another store the day that I bought this, looking to buy a Model 12 takedown shotgun, but as luck would have it, the used section of that store was closed, so instead I decided to do some more shopping, and because this guy had been in consignment in a glass case for so long, I decided that I had to rescue it. And it fits very nicely along with my other Jframe revolvers in my collection. This one, as you can tell, is a 3-inch barrel as opposed to being a snub nose, so it fits very nicely with my 3-inch Jframe in 38 Special. And you can see side by side, these guns look very much the same. They're a similar vintage, probably from the early to mid 1970s on both of these. Here you can see, because the 32 Smith & Wesson Long is a much shorter cartridge than a 38 Special, there is a lengthened forcing cone and a lengthened area on the front of the cylinder on the crane to take up the gap in the frame because it is a J frame. The earlier I frames actually had a shorter cylinder and they didn't have that extra forcing cone area. Now again, on the left you can see the Model 30-1 and how pristine it is compared to my Model 36-1, which is my other 3-inch J frame that I have. You can also see that the Model 36 has a heavier barrel and a different top strap. But overall, it is the same size gun, it's the same size frame, and both of these, the well-worn one and the pristine one, are near and dear to my heart. I just absolutely love Smith & Wesson revolvers, and especially the J-frames. Here again, you can see the size of these two guns side by side. You can see that my 3-inch Model 36 has a lot of wear on the barrel, has a lot of bluing wear, and then again you can see how nice and pristine the Model 30 is. Then here laid out on the table I have all of my blued Jframe models, starting with my Model 34 here in the bottom right hand corner, which is a gorgeous 22 long rifle snub nose. Moving on to my Model 36 no dash round butt that I recently picked up with the round banana grips. Then next to my Model 36 no dash square butt Jframe, which is in pretty good condition. Then of course the Model 30-1 3-inch barrel 32 Smith & Wesson long. And lastly, my Model 36-1 Jframe with the 3-inch barrel. So all of these are good examples of a Jframe revolver in various different configurations. If you want more information about the Smith & Wesson 32 long or the 32 hand ejector and the I-frame in general, I recommend checking out Lucky Gunner. He has a really good video on the 32 Smith & Wesson I-frame in a series that he was doing on pocket pistols. He has a lot more history about it and more information about when it was made and the general history of the 32 Smith & Wesson long cartridge and the Jframe revolvers. So thank you again for joining me on another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. God bless America, support your 2A rights, get out there and shoot. Make sure that if someone asks you to give up some of your freedom for the greater good, you remind them that freedom is the greater good.